ITV News UK editor. It sounds so important. I love that. Paul Brand joins us. And broadcaster with her finger on the pulse, Nicola Thorp is here as well.
You've inflated my job title.
I love that. I like it. I'm in the absolute company of complete titans here. It's clearly a very heavily edited show. That was one of the major reactions last night off the back of it. You sense that someone's had to really work on making this programme suddenly broadcastable.
Exactly.
I mean, mixed reaction, that's the fair way to describe.
Sure, and the editing wasn't just due to the two presenters, but there was also a contestant who had objected to the show being aired, and they were also edited out of the programme. Look, I really feel for the contestants because they've worked for months and months.
That's the thing.
And this is a huge job opportunity for them. They could go on and get book deals, etc., etc. So they want that show to be out there. Well, the majority of them do. But it's just so covered in controversy. But again, it might keep them in the papers, it might boost their profile in some way, but it's uncomfortable viewing, I think.
Yeah, I think that's it. As you say, it's the contestants. It's just unfortunate, isn't it? Because you plough so much of your time and effort into a show like that. It's sad for them.
And of course, there was one contestant who asked to be edited out, so they had to factor that in as well. I mean, I didn't watch it last night, but everything I'm reading about it, it was just quite a messy edit. And I think it's very, very difficult when the stars of the show are the problem, to then edit it down and remove, or sort of try and airbrush them out of it when, you know, they've still got to judge the dishes and everything. So it just doesn't really work from what
every
I can
5
tell.
minutes they have to judge a new dish. It's impossible to completely get rid of them. But
it is.
Yeah, what a shame.
Exactly. Now, Kemi Badenoch has done a new interview with some surprise and revelations, Paul. So says a lot about herself.
Yeah, and politicians often do this style of interview. So she's done it with Amul Rajan from the BBC, and it airs tonight at 7 o'clock. And politicians often want to tell a story about themselves. In political journalism, we call it a narrative. And you need a narrative about why you're in politics and what you want to do for the country. It's a part of the problem that Keir Starmer has at the moment, actually. We often say is that he doesn't really have a narrative. We don't know
But they
what
like
he's
to
about.
humanise themselves.
They like to humanise
They want
themselves.
to be relatable.
Exactly, and that's exactly what she's done tonight. And you might remember last year we interviewed Rishi Sunak on the Tonight programme.
Of course, that was,
And I asked him what he'd gone without as a child, and he said Sky TV. So these interviews don't always go as they plan. There's also that infamous one of Theresa May telling my colleague Julie Etchingham that, you know, the naughtiest thing she'd ever done was run through a field of wheat, which did not play well for her. It was sort of this meme. Anyway, what's interesting about the interview tonight is Kemi Badenoch is trying, I believe, to make this argument about how she really believes in fairness. So she says when she was at school, she essentially snitched on someone who was cheating in an exam, called them out, and then that person even got expelled from the school. And she thinks that really shows just how principled she is in politics.
I just think, like with the previous politicians you mentioned, they think that the story is going to make them relatable, and it does the exact opposite. I mean, maybe I would have told on somebody when I was at school. Would I admit to it now? Not if I was the leader of the Tory party. But yeah, I think she thinks, so, you know, I'm all about fairness, but actually people go, oh,
I'm not so sure. Well, that's a bit more dramatic than I thought.
I was not expecting that little addition to the end. I didn't get praised for it. It's quite an interesting one. Praised for getting somebody expelled. Look, he shouldn't have been cheating. But
no, I know. Well, the next interview is with the boy that got expelled, isn't it?
That's the
Gary Badenoch ruined my life.
Get on it.
Yeah, that's the big scoop.
Next big exclusive. That's so interesting. It's such a bizarre insight into someone's mind in an interview, you know, what they think might be appropriate.
Sure, but it reeks of desperation, really, I think, at the moment. It's the Tory party dwindling in the polls, and I think she's desperately trying to get those front pages, get people talking about it. Obviously, we're doing that, but not necessarily for the right reasons.
She's trying to look righteous and proper, isn't she?
I would say, having interviewed Kemi Badenoch several times, what you see is what you get. That interview doesn't surprise me. That's what she's like in person. She is quite forthright. I mean, I'm not trying to do her PR for her. I'm just trying to be honest about what she's like as a person. She is quite forthright. She doesn't mince her words. She's got that reputation in politics. I don't think she's putting on a false image. But as Nicola says, is it a good image to be calling out your classmate? And the fact that he was expelled, as I say, is quite harsh, maybe.
I feel awful about that. I would feel dreadful. More political conversations, slightly with a different slant this time, because politicians are embracing the AI future. This really, I did giggle at this yesterday. I mean, This, you can explain.
Yeah,
exactly
absolutely.
What
this is
setup
Labour MP Mark Sewards, who is now available to his constituents and everybody else, by the way, 24/7, 365 days a year, because he is now an AI chatbot. But it's more than simply chat. You can actually, you actually speak into a microphone and have this so-called conversation with Mark, and it's the kind of AI version of his voice. I went on it last night. I asked him some questions, bearing in mind I'm not a constituent. He didn't answer any of my questions directly. He just sort of pointed me to different websites. So I don't know how effective it really is. I asked him if he watches Lorraine, and he avoided the question.
How dare
Classic politician.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you know what I find quite amusing? Did he sit down or one of his team sit down to come up with the avatar? You know, when you go to pick the hair and you go to pick the eyes. And
everyone would
I was
spell it as
really
an avatar,
intrigued,
don't
exactly.
they?
You know, you kind of want your best version of yourself, don't you?
Absolutely.
I trust the guy on the right, I think. I'm not so sure about the left.
Yeah, I mean, what does it mean for the future of politics, though, Paul, if this is what's happening at this stage?
Yeah, I think what politicians would say, and certainly the Labour government really believes in the power of AI, actually, is that it does have the potential to streamline things. So in defence of MPs, they get hundreds upon hundreds of emails every single week. They work a lot harder than we give them credit for, actually, at times. And a lot of those emails will be quite repetitive. So if you're a constituency MP, you'll get lots of emails saying, you know, why weren't the bins collected this week on the usual day, for example?
Yeah.
And if you've got the power via an AI chatbot just to reply, a standard reply to everyone all at the same time saying, I don't know, it's because there was a bank holiday or whatever, that's actually quite helpful. The problem with it, for me, is authenticity. Don't we want more authenticity from our politicians? That's what we were just talking about with Kemi Badenoch, for example.
Yeah.
You know, this doesn't really provide that, does it?
No.
It's the opposite.
Exactly. It just distances you again, weirdly, doesn't it?
And they do keep a record of everything that you say to it as well, so just bear that in mind before you get in touch.
New figures reveal that less people are walking down the aisle. What is it? Nicola, Paul are still here. What is it? Are we just sort of deciding it's not for us?
Well, maybe. Fewer than half of UK adults are now married. And a study has revealed that 80% of adults believe that changing social attitudes are behind that decline in marriage. I say this as somebody whose wedding anniversary is next week, my first anniversary.
Oh, OK.
Still married.
Yes, freshly married.
Yes, very much freshly married. Oh, that's me and my husband.
Look at you.
Nick.
Oh, my gosh, Nicola, that's magnificent.
Oh, thank you.
But you see, looking at that beautiful picture, that's a day that you will cherish always.
For us, it was a party. We didn't change our names. I don't actually, to this day, really know what our legal status change is. And I said that in my wedding speech. I said, I don't really know what being married does. But it's a declaration for us of love in front of our families. We wouldn't necessarily even need the legal bit, but we decided to do it because we've got a daughter. But I think most of my friends have got kids outside of marriage. Even they don't see the point in kind of tying the knot for that reason. But I think, yeah, social attitudes have changed. What is the benefit of legally getting married, if not just a big party?
Just the party, yes. And it is expensive. I mean, there's no denying
Yeah,
it.
and there's loads of research out showing that the financial aspect is the hardest one. 2/3 say the financial pressures are the main reason for them delaying their wedding. There's also legal reasons. I mean, Nicola was saying she couldn't necessarily see the legal benefit of being married. There are also legal obstacles to getting married. So when I got married, for example, as a same-sex couple, there were little things that we had to navigate. You can't get married in a church, for example, because that's the way the law was designed. So we actually got married 8 years ago now. In a deconsecrated church, because I am that kind of person. I found the one church that would let me get married in it, and I did it anyway.
You made it work. Right?
Yeah, I made it work within the rules. So the thing I find really interesting is the time now between engagements and weddings. It's getting longer and longer, on average about 15 months now. And I definitely know people in my circle of friends who got engaged, I think my best friend actually about 10 years ago now, and they've never quite gone through the wedding, but they sort of feel they've got the commitment with the engagement, and they've just never got around to either the cost or the organisation of the wedding itself.
Yeah, it takes a long time to save. Also, post-COVID, we had that backlog for a long time, so you couldn't book things in advance. But speaking of engagement rings, when I was researching this story, I found out that you have a right to keep your engagement ring if the engagement is broken off. You don't legally have to return the ring. Unless the person upon proposal said, you must give me this back if we don't get married.
So they have to say those words?
They have to say those words when they're proposing.
Romance is officially dead,
How
isn't it?
romantic.
Oh, my goodness.
So get engaged. And,
How are you supposed to prove that as well, if they said it or they didn't say it?
Fascinating, isn't it?
I'm looking at flaws in this, in this legal
You know, they were
thing.
financially savvy, though. I mean, that would be a benefit. If you're looking for stability, then...
Yeah, exactly that. Well, we were about six years, I think, engaged.
Wow, OK,
And
yeah.
that was a lot to do with just life, and we were just enjoying what we had. And I actually loved the anticipation.
Sure.
Yeah. I loved the idea of, we'll do it evenally. Because then once it's done, it is done.
It is done.
I loved the build-up, so we just lengthened it.
Did you have post-wedding blues?
Yes and no. I did feel different after getting married, I have to say. It did feel like a new phase.
Yeah.
Even though nothing had changed.
Yeah.
You know, we were still in the same house and life continued literally the same day as it was the day before.
I just felt sad that there was
different.
nothing to... You know, I was sad that the preparation and the planning had all been over, and I was like, oh, what do we do now? So
yeah, you see, I couldn't be bought. That bit stressed me out.
Yeah,
I was
I
glad
didn't
to
like
have that done.
either. I didn't like that bit either. But I did feel different as well. I think there is a sense of like a renewed commitment. Even though you might have been together for ages or engaged, in your case, for 6 years, something feels different about that real public statement of commitment to each other.
No, I think so. Well, we're 10 years married this Christmas.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Tell me about it. My goodness me. Whole decade. We're going to do a party, by the way.
Oh, nice.
I think we might do a party, so there you go. You're all invited. Thank you very much, you two. Hi there. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel, where we upload new videos every single day. You can click here if you're interested in this video, or head to the homepage for some more amazing content.